Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and in Framey J, ABC political reporter emeritus, Charles Thomas.
That's me.
And that theme music means it's time for our weekly confab with Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. There's a lot of Illinois policy to discuss and its impact, the impact of Illinois policy, which is always interesting. Because so many new laws took effect yesterday, Charles. Like, for example, gas tax increase. Rising by 2 cents a gallon to now 47 cents a gallon. It's the second highest in the nation. We're coming for you. Who's number one? California? Hawaii? Whoever's number one, we're coming for you. Guarantee you that.
47 cents per gallon.
Yeah.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough to remember you get 2 gallons for 47 cents.
Yeah, that's just the taxes.
That's just the taxes.
Yeah, state taxes on it. Mm-hmm. So that'll be like $185 more a year than it was in 2019. But again, can you really put a price on good government? Of course you can't.
Or good gas.
Or good, or good gas. Also, the tax on sports wagering is increasing. I hope my degenerate friends take notice. And we'll move from a 15% flat tax to a progressive rate of up to 35%.
Really? That's a bet you make on the Bears to beat this team or this guy to catch this many passes.
Well, I mean,
all the bets.
Yeah.
And it's what you win that they're going to tax?
No,
or what you bet?
No, it'll be on the provider side, right? Sports wagering tax increase on the provider side based like they tax casinos, but of course those taxes are passed on to the customers, of course. So you don't want to bet, but they're going to bring in $200 million in new revenue. They say it'll come in under that probably.
With that tax, or all of them?
No, just that tax.
Just that tax?
Yeah, that's what they say. That's but I mean $200 million. I mean, that's
that's a couple of weeks in the shelter for the immigrants.
Yeah, I mean we're spend $5 to $10 billion on migrants alone.
Yeah,
I mean that's chump change.
Dan, think about it, man. What JB has brought us, he's brought us this expanded gaming. I mean, he's brought us expanded weed, recreational weed, and then of course he makes Illinois the destination for abortions in the Midwest.
Right.
And he's got big capital projects in the works. He's going to build a couple of prisons. I wonder who's going to go to those.
I know where this is going. When is he going to legalize prostitution? I know.
I mean,
I hear you. Yeah. When is he going to legalize hard drugs, not just marijuana?
Well, that's in the works.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
I got you. When is he going to go back and try and get that state income tax graduated so rich honkies pay more? I know. I hear you.
Yeah. Well,
I hear you. One can hope. One can dream.
JB at work, man. He's in 6 years now. What is that? What it is?
6 glorious years.
Glorious years, man. All the new jobs and all the new companies and all the billionaires that are leaving and
leaving. Wait, you heard on Mike Scott's newscast, JB Pritzker. Don't believe the numbers. He's done his own count, and people are moving. We're adding people.
He's gaining.
We're gaining.
He's gaining. JB is gaining. That's the headline. JB is gaining.
For more on this, please be joined by Ted Dabrowski. Ted, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Yeah, JB counts the buses coming in, and he knows how many immigrants are coming in, and he's looking at the schools and seeing all the kids that are there, and knows how many other immigrants have come into other places, and Yeah, he's adding the numbers.
So we net lost 88,000 people last year, 23, according to IRS data, right? That was just the research that you did over at wirepoints.org. There's details there. But that's more than made up for by the influx of people in this country and thus in this state illegally. And that's the play, apparently. And then we finance those people to be here illegally, while the people leaving are making a lot more than the people coming.
Yeah, I mean, just add it all up, and it becomes a big mess. The people that are leaving are making much more than the people who are coming in. And of course, the IRS can't track the immigrants who don't file taxes. So you'll have another slew of not just the 40,000 that we know of that have coming on buses. There's a whole bunch that have come in just through the porous border. So we get our share of those. So we're getting poorer even as we lose people because man, I tell you that there's a big difference in incomes between those leaving and those coming in. I have the numbers here somewhere, but it's like a $40,000 gap.
Yeah,
It's
and I saw Florida, which led the nation in migration, according to IRS data again. So if you don't like those numbers, JB, just blame the IRS. The Florida, which led the nation in migration, something like north of 200,000 new residents on net. And their spread was like plus 60,000 in terms of people moving in versus moving out.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. What that does for your economy, right? You swap out people. Not only do you gain 250,000 new people, right? But on average, they're making almost 160,000 a year, and the people who you do lose are making about 100,000. So it's a great way to boom your economy. It's great for people who have homes in Florida. Home values go up. Their nest eggs go up. And of course, it creates a vibrancy that they have in Florida, which we don't have in Illinois.
I wanted to get to another report you put out this week that's important. And Charles and I discussed this yesterday, but let's do it again. The report on 911 calls for last year. This is the second year in a row you've done this report, and it's jarring. And not just the fact that fewer than half of 911 calls on major related to major crimes are responded to in a timely fashion by an officer. But I just go back that less than 50% of 911 calls saying a person has been shot, less than half, are responded to in a timely fashion by police.
Yeah, I think you capture the dysfunction of we capture several dysfunctions, but this is one where we've messed up policing so bad in the criminal justice system that there were 1,800 calls for somebody being shot, and only 800 of those. So fewer than half had police available to respond, but the others had to wait. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's how bad it's become, and it's not just for this; it's the same thing for assaults and for robberies, all kinds of violent crimes. There's just not half of the time there's no police available to immediately respond. It's criminal the other way, right? We've totally messed up our safety system so badly.
Well, the other thing I noticed about that, I mean, in addition to that just being an astounding number, the 1,800 calls person shot. Well, in 2023, there were 3,077 people shot, according to HeyJackass.com. So what? 1,200 people aren't even nobody's even bothering to call them in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, that's another huge problem, right? Because these are all tied together. Our arrest rates, right? Our arrest rates in Chicago for major crimes is 5%. So of all crimes that are of violent nature, only 5% ends up in an arrest. And so what happens is, if the police aren't coming, if you know that somebody's not going to get arrested, if you know people don't care, the criminal justice system doesn't care, why even bother calling? And I think that's a big part of what we hear sometimes, that people don't bother to call in. I don't know about person shot, but people don't bother to call in, smaller crimes anymore.
That's absolutely true in certain neighborhoods in Chicago. They don't call anymore. I mean, that's just what happens. That's part of living here. Somebody almost has to get shot for there to be a call.
And then you're a coin flip at best that you get a response in a timely fashion. And as we were talking about yesterday, that includes, paramedics. You need medical attention, obviously, when you get shot, no matter where you got shot. And I mean, it's just I don't know how people just stay desensitized to that sort of data. I really don't.
Well, if it's happening in your neighborhood every day, really every day, there's a robbery, a burglary, or whatever. At some point, you just write it off. Personally, why?
Well, you write it off.
What are the cops going to do? What are the cops going to do?
Right.
That's the reaction.
Well, you write it off or you leave, and that's what we keep seeing in South Cook County, right? You see a lot of the black flight, and it's not trivial. It's not a trivial amount. It's a big amount, and a lot of that has to do with, again, one of the other big facts we had on here is that since 2019, the number of beat cops is down by 20%. It's down by almost 1,400 officers. So no wonder you can't get to crime scenes because you're missing a lot of the beat cops. Now, what's not clear to me is where they are. Are they all doing desk jobs, or are they all filling out consent decree forms all the time, and therefore they're not out on the beat? But that needs to be solved. But Charles, I wish you were still in the media because you might ask Governor Pritzker these things, and Chicago Mayor Brant Johnson. You may ask them these questions, but nobody else seems to want to care about this, as Dan says, or challenge it.
Nobody does. I mean, I've noticed that. I've certainly noticed that, Ted.
Well, we're too busy celebrating the minimum wage increase to $16.20 an hour, so that's wonderful. That'll do a nice job. It'll in furtherance of youth unemployment, and particularly black youth unemployment, right?
Yeah, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is Brandon Johnson saying that he wants to hire. They want to create government jobs for the summer for young people, as opposed to actually letting the economy grow, lowering the cost of doing business in Chicago, and therefore letting young people actually get real jobs rather than these fake government jobs.
Any other these new laws that went into effect on Monday that you want to take judicial notice of? The undocumented immigrants, meaning illegal immigrants, now eligible for driver's licenses. That one, for example.
Yeah, that's the big one. We keep giving them more rights. We keep making it easier for those. We keep incentivizing them to come here. Think about it, right? If you come here, and we've talked about this, and you get housing, and you get money, and then you get a driver's license, we're just incentivizing more and more and more people to come over the border because Chicago is an easy place to make it. And I've always said, my parents are both immigrants, and they both came to Chicago, and they did it out, and they were part of the American dream, but it was done properly, not in this open border way where we have no control, no idea what's going on, and of course the massive costs involved that puts these migrants in front of the line, in front of all the ordinary residents we have in Chicago.
Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ted.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you a driver of a Ford PowerStroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford PowerStroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford PowerStroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts